We actually just got a statement from Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court in response to those calls that you mentioned for the impeachment of James Boasberg. He says that for more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose. So there you have it from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, basically trying to put some kind of defense around Judge Boasberg there to try to say that it is not up to the executive branch to be calling for impeachment.
President Donald Trump calls for the impeachment of the judge who tried to block him from deporting criminals who illegally enter the country. Liberals rage against the president for allegedly going against the rule of law. And Democrats were shocked by the decision to remove the Secret Service detail of Joe Biden's children. Now, I got a lot of crucial updates to share with you guys today, so let's go ahead and kick things off with what the president had to say on Truth Social. The post reads, "The radical left lunatic of a judge and a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win all 7 swing states. He didn't win 2,750 to 525 counties. He didn't win anything. I won for many reasons in an overwhelming mandate, but fighting illegal immigration may have been the #1 reason for this historic victory. I'm just doing what the voters want me to do. This judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached. We don't want vicious, violent, and demented criminals, many of them deranged murderers in our country. For context, this is in relation to a judge blocking President Trump from deporting illegal immigrants connected to a gang called Tren de Aragua, or TDA. So the judge decided that it would be best for these criminals to be brought back to our country. Comment down below if you think that this judge needs to be impeached or removed, even though these criminals entered the U.S. as illegal immigrants. And this is the kind of crazy that we see from the far left from time to time, because it's no secret that Americans don't want gang members roaming our streets. And yet you have a federal judge saying that they should instead stay inside the United States. Furthermore, you have the Chief Justice defending this mindset.
Yeah, Barbara, what do you make of this response? This statement issued by the Chief Justice essentially pushing back on these calls for the impeachment of the judge in this case.
Well, truly extraordinary. We do not see statements like this issued by justices of the Supreme Court, but I'm really heartened to see Chief Justice John Roberts take this up. You know, he is a conservative. This is his court. People sometimes think of this court as being supportive of President Trump. So it is very reassuring to me to see Chief Justice Roberts take this stand in favor of the judiciary, because, of course, our government is one of 3 co-equal branches. And while voters may have voted for Donald Trump because they wanted to see aggressive enforcement of the immigration laws, they did not vote for him to do it lawlessly, nor could they, because our Constitution says it is the province of the judiciary to review the execution of the law. So imagine what we have here. Invocation of the Alien Enemy Act, which is supposed to apply only during wartime or invasion. Very unclear that we're in any sort of invasion that would meet the legal definition.
President Trump on his end has answered the criticism from Justice Roberts as he talked with Fox News' Laura Ingraham.
The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court issued what a rare statement about your suggestion on Truth that you posted earlier today that Judge James Boasberg should be impeached after he ordered those deportation flights to El Salvador halted, essentially turned around. The Chief Justice said it was more than two centuries. We understood that essentially impeachment was for very rare circumstances and not an appropriate response to rulings you disagree with. What's your reaction to the court's stepping in to make a statement here? They didn't make a statement when Joe Biden, decided to forgive all those student loans.
Well, he didn't mention my name in the statement. I just saw it quickly. He didn't mention my name, yeah. But many people have called for his impeachment, the impeachment of this judge. I don't know who the judge is, but he's radical left. He was Obama appointed. And he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country. Well, that's a presidential job. That's not for a local judge to be making that determination. And I thought it was terrible. In fact, he said when they were well on their way, there was an order issued, as I understand it, to bring them back or to not let them go or something. And this is not something that the country would stand for.
Urgent warning, guys. The job market is collapsing. The economy is shrinking fast. Layoffs are skyrocketing. The Trump tariffs are already shaking industries. The media won't tell you this, but most high-paying jobs, they're disappearing. And the ones that do remain, they're soon going to be out of reach. But here's the good news, guys. I've put together a list of 30 plus jobs that pay around $100,000 per year without a degree. These are recession-proof jobs, and some are even set to explode in demand thanks to this economic shakeup. No college degree required, no student debt, just real jobs that pay. But I promise, guys, this list is not going to be available forever. So get it right now. Get it before these jobs are flooded by the competition. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link down below so you can get your free list of the 30 plus jobs that pay over $100,000 without a college degree. So download this list before it's too late. Here's the deal, guys. President Trump isn't the first person to call for a judge to be impeached. Back in June 2022, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat, called for Supreme Court justices to be impeached because they allegedly lied under oath. And this is a classic double standard when it comes to President Trump, because Democrats are going to say the exact same thing, and they won't face even half the scrutiny that the president goes through. So here's Senator Bernie Sanders claiming to be an independent, piling on with criticism of President Trump.
Now he's going after the courts. Look, if somebody is a corrupt judge, that person can and should be impeached. But not because you voiced an opinion. That's why these guys have life terms. So they are immune from these types of attack, and they can be objective in their judgment. And just a word here. In the last number of years, and I'm not a great fan of Chief Justice Roberts, you have had decisions from the Supreme Court on Citizens United, which allow billionaires to buy elections. One of the worst decisions in the history of the Supreme Court. You didn't see a whole lot of people saying impeach Roberts and members of the court. You had this horrible decision on Roe versus Wade, taking away women's rights to control their own bodies. Again, we live in a society of rule of law. Supreme Court has its power. Judges have their power. And it should frighten every American, whether you're conservative or progressive, that you have a president who does not respect our Constitution and wants more and more power for himself.
Now, again, we're going to go back to the double standard here. Former President Joe Biden opened our borders to allow millions of illegal immigrants to enter the country. Thousands upon thousands of them were criminals. Some even belonged to terror watch lists. Where was the outcry from Democrats then? Biden also forgave student loans even after he was told by the courts that he couldn't do it, which goes back to the argument that Democrats will only speak out about something if it's President Trump that's doing it. If it's someone from their own party, they don't really care if the rules get bent or even broken. And I got to get back to the point here. These are gang members that have terrorized Americans, and we have Democrats within the federal government that want to protect them. How does this make any sense at all? Now, I feel as if this will only escalate further, but I have a feeling that Americans already feel a certain way about this, given that a majority of the country has asked for these deportations. Now, moving on, guys. President Trump was informed about Hunter Biden having Secret Service agents by his side in the most unorthodox way.
Sir, there were 18 Secret Service agents protecting Hunter Biden in South Africa this weekend. Who's paying for that? Would you plan to revoke the Secret Service protection?
Well, we have done that with many. I would say if there are 18 with Hunter Biden, that will be something I'll look at this afternoon. Okay?
Sir?
I just heard about it for the first time. So you have 18 Secret Service going. Where is he exactly?
In South Africa.
In South Africa. And South Africa, you know, is on a watch list. You know that. Because what they're doing to people is brutal. And I've stopped having money go to South Africa. You know that. Billions of dollars. So he's in South Africa. That's very interesting. All right.
What's strange about his vacation is that he seems to have left the United States to avoid legal fees. That's exactly why he pulled back on his lawsuit regarding his laptop. And yet we're hearing about him having a luxury vacation in South Africa, staying in a $500 per night beachfront villa, which makes you wonder if he was even broke in the first place. An NBC report from 2022 showed that Hunter Biden and his firm made $11 million from 2013 to 2018. And yet the American people continue to pay for his Secret Service detail. Laura Loomer reported that Hunter Biden had 18 agents with him in South Africa, 3 shifts of 4 agents plus 6 backup agents, all staying at a 4-star hotel near where the former first son is at. Now, you might be thinking that someone who probably lied about being broke can hire his own security, right? And he's going to have to, since President Trump just revoked his and his sister's Secret Service protection.
We've now learned that President Trump has ordered the Secret Service to end its protection for former President Biden's children, Hunter and Ashley Biden. I want to go back to Gabe Gutierrez, who is live for us at the White House. This news came, I believe, in a Truth Social post from the president, right? What else can you tell us?
Yeah, Hallie, there's been some fast-moving developments on this one. The president posting within the past few minutes, as he said, that he was terminating that Secret Service protection for Hunter and Ashley Biden. He was asked about it a short time before that when he was at the Kennedy Center following a report in the New York Post. So the president saying in that Truth Social post that Hunter Biden has up to 18 people on his Secret Service detail and that he is vacationing in South Africa. Now, I should point out, Hallie, that it is common for family members of former presidents to have Secret Service protection. Actually, typically they get it for up to 6 months after their parents leave office. But it's up to the discretion of the president. Typically, a spouse by law gets Secret Service protection, but for other family members, it's at the discretion of the president.
So here's my question for you guys. Do you believe that us as taxpayers should continue to have to pay for Hunter Biden and Ashley Biden's Secret Service protection? Now, if you have the time, I urge you to check out a previous live stream that I did, guys. I talked about the amount of infighting that's happening within the left. It's crazy. They're imploding. I also talked about the wins that the White House continues to tally on the board. As always, appreciate y'all hitting the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. We'll see you guys next time.